Hi Scott, how are you?
Alright, Colin. Good pal, you?
Yeah, good mate, thanks. Scott, obviously you're one of a very few people that have played over 600 games for the club, 14 years at the club. What was the thing that you found that separated Celtic from other clubs? And do you attribute that as the reason to why you stayed at the club for so long?
I think it's the fan base and how they welcomed me into the place like a family. And that was the biggest thing for me because obviously I had bad times at the start and there was a lot of CEOs, managers, players that kept me going, that wanted me to be about here and that helped me through that. And there's not a lot of clubs that would do that, and CEOs phoning you up to make sure you're okay and to make sure if there's anything else they can do for you. But for me, that's it's small details. It doesn't take a lot to make you feel really welcome to a football club. It might be a phone call, it might be a sit down chat, and that's what this club does really, really well. And then you've got the fan base, and you go Glasgow, you go Dubai, you go anywhere, and there's always a Celtic strip floating about somewhere, and somebody's on a sun lounger and they've left their top there, and it puts a smile on my face knowing that they're all over the world and that you might bump into somebody now and then, and it's just that phenomenal fan base that you're never going to get away from. But it's also it's a great thing to have, especially as a player, because playing in front of 60,000 fans that go mental when you score is the best feeling in the world, and to win trophies in front of them for them is even better for a player to give something back to the fans.
And obviously in that 14 years you worked under a lot of coaches, you worked under a lot of managers. Was there one that you specifically picked as someone that helped mould your career? And have you taken anything from them as you go into management?
Yeah, I still speak to three of them quite a lot. I speak to Gordon, who I first had the opportunity to come into Celtic. He was the one that was daft enough to sign me, and whether it was a mistake or no, he'll maybe admit that later down the line. But then I had the opportunity to work with him again at Scotland, and it was brilliant because I knew him really well. We kept in touch throughout the whole time, and then to go back into helping out at Scotland as well, and then obviously playing against Lenny, knowing Lenny really well, playing against him being the coach, and then him becoming the manager as well. 2 periods, it was great because you got the understanding of what he wanted from the lads as well, and still now I speak to him as well. And then we had some great times with Brendan too, who we won a lot of trophies. We had great success with as well. So it was three managers that I worked with really well, that won a lot of trophies, that were great with me, and that you look forward to like speaking to them if I ever needed anything. I know I can always pick up the phone, and they wouldn't block me.
Thanks
Well,
very much.
well, maybe no they now, but maybe in a couple of months' time we'll see how that goes.
Cheers, Scott.
Top man, cheers.
David Falls, please.
Hi Scott, how are you?
I'm good, David. How are you?
I'm fine. That's almost 2 years you've been away, Scott. Do you think in that time the magnitude of what you actually achieved at Celtic has started to sink in with you in terms of, in the day-to-day playing football, you're looking to the next game, but now you've been away from it, you're looking from afar, and you're seeing how much of a legend you've become at the club?
Thank you very much. I, I'm not one to look back hugely. I like to look forward. I like to have that drive to go forward, and by all means, I loved every single moment of playing for this club. And one day when I probably retire as being a manager or a coach, I'll probably sit back and I'll think about the unbelievable things that we've done together as a team, individually as well, but also like even small details of friendships that we've made and kept in touch with as well. It's brilliant, and that's one thing about this club. We all still keep in touch with each other. We've got group chats here, there, and everywhere, and it brings a lot of players together. It brings a lot of players' families together, and it just puts a smile on everybody's face when you meet up with everybody as well. But as I say, I've got a huge drive to go forward. I, I loved every single moment since I first signed until the moment I left the club, and this is why I was asked to do this event, because I never had the chance to say goodbye to the fans that stood by me for the 14 years, that celebrated the trophies, that were there supporting us through thick and thin. And it's just a small thing for me just to say thank you very much. And a tweet or an Instagram's not really going to do it any justice. So for me to have the opportunity with Lustig, for the two of us just to sit down and show our appreciation to the fans, and also for the foundation as well to hopefully benefit off it.
Last season you did the spell at Aberdeen, and you scored a goal at Ibrox, and you had a good performance in a draw at Pittodrie, and you also got coming back to Celtic. So what was it like to watch the new team under Ange taking shape, and how much did you enjoy helping us win the league last year?
I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed that goal. I think that was maybe my last goal in professional football, so I think I'll cherish that moment a little bit more than anything else. No, it was hard leaving. I never wanted to leave with no fans. I wanted to say bye. I didn't want to leave on a downward spiral because I knew I was getting a little bit older. I couldn't keep up with the lads, and the reason I left because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to be the old guy that still stayed about because he's been at the club for 14 years. He can sign another 2-year deal. We can watch him train, and he might get 5 minutes on the pitch. It's not for me, that. And as soon as you don't start playing games, I knew at the start of the season this was going to be my last season. So there was a new venture that came up late on in the season, and then I had the opportunity to go up to Aberdeen, and we started off well in the season. It just wasn't to be. We just couldn't score enough goals, and we were letting in sloppy goals as well. And then I had the opportunity to go and play centre mid, centre back, and I enjoyed it. To be fair, it was a learning curve because I wanted to become a coach. I knew I wanted to become either a coach or a manager. And for me to get that 9 month under Stephen Glass, it meant a lot to me to get that understanding of management, day-to-day scenes, routines of players, and how that you stop like leaving at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then you have actually proper got an 8 to 5 job now. So yeah, no, but for me my career was unbelievable, and I loved it, and I wouldn't change anything.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Declan?
Hi Scott, hope all is well.
Hello, Declan.
You were talking earlier about keeping in touch with Brendan, Gordon and Lenny. Could I ask you if you could just pick one aspect of their management styles to take into Fleetwood with you? What would that have been?
I've stole small details from everyone, and I'm not going to sit here and say there's one thing that I take from one manager over the other, because it's the training sessions. I've literally went through all the training sessions, understood. I wrote a lot down when I was a younger player, and I managed to put a lot in the computer and save it as I started to get a lot older as well. And it's different styles, different management ways, different understanding of players as well. And there's no right way and no wrong way to go about winning games. Yes, we all want to play fantastic football. We get that, especially here at Celtic. You want to entertain the fans. The fans deserve to be entertained. They want to see goals. They want to see trophies. That's amazing. I'm not sure I'm going to bring a lot of trophies to Fleetwood at this moment in time, but we want to play entertaining football as well. We want to go as high as we possibly can up the league, and that comes from training sessions, on the way we build the sessions at the start of the season to the way we're going to play and the shape, the system as well. But it's also for the lads to get the understanding of how I expect them to press, what high intensity I expect them to hit, what distance I expect them to cover in games, and that got a little bit more drummed into me the last maybe 4 or 5 years at Celtic, because when GPSs started to come in, you started to look at your stats. You wanted to be top of stats, you wanted to have the most touches in a game, you wanted to have the most forward passes. So looking at all those things, we always dissect that. And yeah, you can take Tom Rogic for instance, who maybe didn't run as much as what myself and Cal did, but he could do something that nobody else could do with the ball. So you've got to give and take a little bit, and when you see somebody that's got a talent but maybe can't do other things that others can't, you can always bring in players that are fitter, that are willing to do that, but nobody can replace that talent that somebody's got sometimes. So for us, it's just about understanding to get the best 11 players on the park, and then go forward and keep stealing little bits from each manager, and even Ange now, when I see him play the system that they play as well, and you see the rotations as well, and I'm always looking to try and better myself, to try and get a better understanding of how Celtic play. And it's not for me to come up here and watch Celtic train. This is Ange's place, this is not mine, but for that 90 minutes on a Saturday. I can sit back, I can watch them, I can get that understanding of how Cal goes out wide to go and receive the ball, the wingers high up the park. So there's great ways to focus on all different formations and systems as well.
When we were going through the quadruple treble, a lot of the lads had a living legend in yourself to train beside and look at each day. But what I want to ask you is, for that period of time you were at Lennox, you almost had Clarkie in the background, Danny in the background. How important do you think that is for any player coming through that door at Celtic, that you've got guys like Danny McGregor and John Clark always in and about the building?
Yeah, it was good because this club's built on history. It's an unbelievable club. It's got great history as well, going all the way back to Danny and Clarkie's time as well. And a lot of the Lisbon legends came in as well. They were in quite a lot. They were in round about game time. But to have Clarkie and Danny's ability in this training ground every day, their willingness to go and speak to players and to tell little stories as well, and I'm sure I've heard about 1,000 stories for the both of them put together, and it's small details that puts a smile on everyone's face and it makes it a better place.
Hamish?
Hi Scott, how are you getting on?
I'm not too bad, Hamish, yourself?
Yeah, all good. I just wanted to ask you about Callum McGregor if possible. He's obviously followed on as a really good Celtic captain, but when you speak to some people who knew him earlier on in his career, they maybe didn't see that coming. Can I just ask for you, what was your first impressions of Callum McGregor, and was there a moment when you kind of thought he could be a Celtic captain?
I knew Cal was destined to be the next captain. For me, he has the drive, he has the willingness day to day to make himself better, but also puts the club before everything else, and he's got an addiction to Celtic. He loves coming in, he loves winning games, and I think that's what you want, and he's got that understanding with the fans as well, that they want to see good football. He sets standards in training, and also he pushes them in games. So no, there was no better person for the job, and they could have went out and brought somebody else in, but nobody's got that love for the club that Callum's got, especially coming through the youth all the way through.
And you're right in saying you obviously didn't get that chance to really say goodbye to the fans on the pitch. There was a moment though when you played for Aberdeen where I think you pulled up with maybe a hamstring injury, and you got that walk off the pitch with the whole of Celtic Park on its feet. Did that moment register with you at all?
I pulled up because I was old and fragile and I seen Johnny Hayes score an own goal, so yeah, it meant a lot, but it would have been disrespectful for me to walk all the way around the park and applaud the fans as well, especially when we had a travelling support down. And for me, Ange offered me the chance to go out and go and applaud the fans as well. But once you're at another club, you can't really go back in an Aberdeen jersey and go and applaud the fans. So this is a perfect time, and this is a perfect opportunity for myself and Lustig both to do this. It's a great, hopefully be a great event. There'll be a few stories, there'll be a few entertaining faces coming on as well. So I'm just delighted to see Lustig as well. So that's also a good thing.
Joe, please.
Yeah, cheers, Scott.
Hi Scott, how you doing?
All right, Joe.
You mentioned Ange Postecoglou in the current side just now. What impresses you most about how we're playing in Ange Postecoglou in general?
I think it's the recruitment that he's brought in. There's been a lot of players that probably nobody in Scotland knew about, and Ange has brought them in through recruitment from probably playing against them and seeing what they're like in the J League. So for him, that's unbelievable. But also the energy that's in the team, the desire to get on the ball, the amount of possession that they've got as well, and the amount of goals they're scoring too it's great. It's great entertaining. It's good to watch, and I'm sure the fans are absolutely delighted with it so far.
We certainly are. Do you have any regrets about not getting the chance to work with Ange? Obviously you spoke very highly of him, but was there an opportunity to work with him, and do you ever hold that?
I think there could have been an opportunity, but I think for myself, and probably for Ange as well, it's probably best that I left because I was getting extremely old and fragile. So he's brought in a lot of younger players that are very, very fit, and it would have been lovely to see his coaching, to see how well the lads train day to day, and to also see what he puts on in training sessions as well. But for me, I didn't want to be one of these guys that just stayed about a club for 15, 16 years, and I just stay because of my name, because I've been here for a long period of time. I wanted to go and learn a different side of it, and for me to have that opportunity to go to Aberdeen to learn the chance of becoming a coach, it turned my head a little bit. And yeah, I think at the right time it was the right decision, because it's gave me the opportunity to go down to Fleetwood, to have that opportunity to become a manager, to show, well, hopefully that I could become a good manager in time.
Cheers, Scott.
Top man, cheers.
John?
Hey, hi Scott, how you doing, mate?
Hello, John.
As you know that you're doing the event with Mika, what are some of your favourite memories of playing alongside him at Celtic?
I think it was the first day I met him, and Lenny was the manager, and I've turned around to Lenny and I've looked at Lenny and went, oh, who's this guy? And he's went, Broony, he's a good player. And I literally was like, right, give him the benefit of doubt. He's skin and bones, he's got tattoos here, there and everywhere, and he had long hair. And I'm looking going, wow, he better be some player. And to be fair, I couldn't ask for a better person in the dressing room as well as on the pitch, because I knew he always had my back, he always had the manager's back, and he wanted what was best for the club, but also he wanted to win games. He was a winner, he enjoyed winning games, and on big days he stepped up with goals, he defended with his life, and he got used to that kind of coming in, becoming the third centre half to let KT bomb forward, especially in his later time at Celtic.
And I know you obviously left Celtic just as Ange came in, but of the players that Ange has brought in at Celtic, what ones have impressed you the most?
I think there's been quite a lot of them. I spoke about Kyogo earlier on. I thought he plays with a smile on his face. I spoke about Rio as well, energy, wants to get on the ball. Jota, good player, wants to score goals. I think Joe Hart's been brilliant as well since coming in, and since we probably lost Fraser and we lost Craigie. You need a big personality to go in the goals, and Joe's been exceptional, and so's Carter Vickers playing centre half, and that's been two huge signings for Ange, and the aim going forward, I'm sure Cal and the forward players have got a lot to thank them for, because it gives them that little bit more licence to drive forward.
Cheers, Scott.
Top man.
Jonathan?
Hi Scott.
Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, sorry, a few of my questions have been done, so I'm having to change them ever so slightly. I would ask you first, Scott, if it's okay, what is your favourite memory of sharing a pitch with Mikael Lustig, whether it be something funny or not, a big match or something like
that? I think when Lusto scores at Ibrox, when he's ran from pretty much the halfway line through a few players, then slides it in the faraway corner, and just seeing his celebration, his smile that's on his face was exceptional that day, and knowing what it means to him as well, that to go and score that goal, and to make sure that our fans were away celebrating.
And the second question I would ask Scott, I'm just kind of more personally interested, obviously being at Celtic for so long, like a big thing that made yourself and Mikael Lustig so successful is that winning mentality, like anything less than a win, obviously at Celtic is, the end of the world. Winning management and working with all sorts of players that have come into Celtic, and now working with players as a manager yourself, how big a part do you think of a team's overall success is having players like yourself and Mika that have that real winning mentality built into them? Yeah,
you also have to have good recruitment as well. You have to have a good understanding of what you want in the dressing room. And we've got a fantastic head of recruitment at Fleetwood. He's brought in some great players, good personalities, and for us to bring in personalities was exceptional, because we brought in Sean Rooney for St Johnstone, and wow, you should see this guy's personality. He's brilliant in the change room, he's loud. We walk in and you can hear him before you can see him, but he's brilliant with the lads in the change room. But then the same was like Lusto as well. Lusto and myself were very loud in the change room, and there's probably a lot of people that used to say that as well. But you want good people in the dressing room, you want people that's got the manager's back, and no matter who the manager was, I always had his back. I would always try and make sure the lads worked extremely hard, because one day I was hoping to be in the situation of becoming a manager, and I wouldn't like to see all the players turning their back on me. So for me, I gave every single manager as much help as I possibly could.
Thanks a lot.
Top man, cheers.
Kieran?
Hi Scott, hope you're well.
Alright, Kim.
Obviously you've had a long career at Celtic, and I was just wondering if you could go back in time to day one, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a very good point. Probably score some more goals. I think I only scored 46 in my whole time at Celtic. I'd like to have scored a few more, but I wouldn't change much. I enjoyed it, and yeah, we got beaten some semi-finals and finals and stuff like that, but you learn a lot from that as a player, and the later on I went in my career, we won a lot more than what we lost, and that because myself, Lustig, Charlie Mulgrew, people like that had that desire to win games. They wanted to better themselves. We came in and enjoyed training, and I think that's the biggest thing. And I think if you're a football player that doesn't like playing football, go and find yourself another job, because you're in a luxury position. You come in, you work a few hours, run about, you go to the gym, and then you leave. So if you can't come in and enjoy that job, you might as well go and find yourself a 9 to 5 sitting behind a keyboard and doing some sort of accounts or something like that, because this is probably the best job in the world. Even though it's such a short period of time, you need to make sure that you enjoy it and you give yourself the best possible opportunity.
And just touching up on, obviously, your 14 years at Celtic, have you got one memory that maybe stands out, whether it's on the pitch or in training or a big game? You've obviously played in some big games, including Champions League games.
I think a lot of people gave me a lot for my passing. I got 100% pass rate at Bayern Munich away from home, so I was quite impressed with that. But I think I only had one touch of the ball, so I think that was maybe why. No, I think the quadruple treble was special. Doing that, having the willingness and the desire to keep going with a bunch of lads that were in that change room to make sure that we got that over the line against Hearts was a big push, because there was a lot of the same players there, and we were getting I was getting slightly older as well, and we just lost Lustig too. So for us to do that was unbelievable for this club and for the fans, but also for us as players as well, because it pays off. You have that willingness, you can keep going, you can keep winning trophies, but then there will always going to become a time that you don't win one and it's the end of the world. So for us, it's now, I'm just glad the club's bounced back and they're in a positive situation now.
Cheers, Scott, appreciate it.
What's up, man?
Martin?
Hi Scott, great to see you.
All right, Martin.
I can't wait to hear some of your funny stories at the Hydro. First question I had was just for somebody myself. I'm in a management position and try and inspire and lead people. When I watch you, I think about how you get the balance right between an infectious personality, the banter, the likability, and also the work ethic and professional side of the game as well, where you can switch on or switch off. Is there any advice you give to me or anybody else who's trying my best to inspire those around about them from a work perspective as to what those key attributes are in a management and a leader role?
I think the more positive you are about yourself, about your job, the more it bounces off around other people around about you. And I'm quite loud, I'm quite outgoing, and I'd speak to anybody, and I'm quite a happy person away from when I was playing football. And I think I tried to bring out the best of everybody when I was in a change room, but then I also knew when I went over the white line that I would get on them. And I think you've got to take the criticism sometimes as well and try and turn that into a positive, because even though you're maybe a manager, you're not always right. I always think I'm right, but then I go back, and if I'm wrong, I'll apologise to the players and I'll do it in front of them all. So they know that sometimes I am going to get things wrong, but I'm willing to admit my mistakes as well, and I think that shows you the bigger person.
Great advice. I'm away to apologise to staff after this call.
Tell your missus sorry.
Next question's maybe a tough one, because for somebody who has so many friends and such a fantastic career, I was going to ask if you wouldn't mind just to pick out three the best players you've played with during the Celtic career, and three players who you've remained really, really close with. I know there'll be loads of those, Scott, but just three in particular that you've stayed really close with.
Three that I've stayed close with. Well, Jamesy and Cal and KT are the ones that I've probably spoke to the most over my whole time at Celtic, as well as Lustig. So we can't not put Lustig on that, so I'm having to take a fourth. But the four of us still speak a lot. We always speak as much as we possibly can to each other. So that's that four's quite tight. The three best players I've played with. Can I say myself?
Of course.
Well, it's no me. Verge has got to be up there. Verge he's been exceptional since coming to this club. He's went to Liverpool, Southampton and Liverpool as well, and he's been fantastic. Nakamura, when I first came to the club, was brilliant, and it's a close one between Jamesy and Cal. So I've got a slight man crush on Jamesy and Cal, so I can't get away with that. But I've also got a young other man crush as well, on Kieran Tierney. So I've got too many. I think it's hard because if you pick positions, then it's a lot easier. But KT's been exceptional. He's went down to Arsenal. He's been brilliant last season. Then he's been good this season for them as well. He's maybe just not got as much game time. But like Jamesy and Cal, to do it consistently throughout the whole time they've been here, it shows you that they love the club, their willingness, their desire to stay here when they could have maybe moved on, but the club means so much to them.
Oh yeah, thanks Scott, appreciate that.
Top man.
Ryan?
Hi Scott, apologies for the quality of the questions, it's tough being towards the end.
Alright, right, it's alright.
I hope you're well. Sorry to bring your age up there, but I was just wondering, as you talk about Ange and looking on in for the side, is there ever a part of you that wishes you were maybe 5-10 years younger and able to play with some of the new guys around the team and being part of his team?
Yeah, definitely. And I always wish every day I wake up I'm 5 or 10 years younger, but every time I look in the mirror I've got one more wrinkle. But no, for me, I'd love to play in this team. I've got no doubt that it would have been hard to get into it. It would have been great competition as well, but yeah, the way they're playing some great football at this moment in time, possession-based team, and I wanted to play football since I came here. Like, get the ball down, play football, but no, we also had that nasty streak about us as well. If teams are going long, direct, that we can compete as well. So for me, you want to play in any team that's doing really well. You just need to make sure that you're doing that consistently, and that's what these lads are doing. These lads are doing it week in, week out, and they need to make sure they keep doing it on Saturday against Hibs as well.
And obviously you've done really well with Fleetwood in the FA Cup. I think it was the furthest the club's been in its history in the competition. Great achievement, but how difficult is it going from a side like Celtic, who are constantly making semi-finals and cup finals, to then being at a side like Fleetwood, who aren't really expected to make it as far in these competitions? Is that a big change for you?
Yeah, it is a big change as well, but the lads want to better themselves, and we've never been past the third round before. We got to the fourth round, then we got Chef Wed away from home. We got a draw, and then we managed to beat them at home. So it shows you the lads are fighting against a top League One side, and we managed to compete against them. We beat QPR the round before, and they had a strong team out. And then we went to Burnley. We got a man sent off after 42 minutes, and we knew we weren't going to have a lot of the ball, but we were very, very well drilled. The lads were. They were exceptional that day, and we played a low block, and they were brilliant for 90 minutes. And it was probably the best thing that could possibly happen to us losing a late goal like that. But it shows you that we can compete with the best team in the Championship. They're going up to the Premier League this season, and they deserve to, because they're possession based. They're the best team that I've seen play this season outside the Premier League. But for us to be able to compete for 89 minutes, especially 45 of that with 10 men, and defend and throw their bodies on the line, but then when we got the ball, try and be composed on it as well, was brilliant. And I sat back and I really enjoyed that, and it's maybe not a part of the game that I enjoy watching us defend for 90 minutes, but what they done that day was exceptional.
Cheers Scott, brilliant.
Top man, thank you.
And finally, Sam, please.
Hi Scott.
Alright Sam, save the best to last, mate.
I'm trying my best. I'm just wondering, obviously you spent a lot of time in the SPFL and then having to move down to England to start your managerial career. What is like the biggest difference that you noticed moving from Scotland to England in terms of the footballing scene?
Well, the weather's one. It is definitely not snowing in Fleetwood today. But no, it's for me. I spent a lot of my career here. I loved playing in Scotland. I loved playing Celtic. I enjoyed playing Hibs and Aberdeen as well, and I really enjoyed playing in the SPFL. I've kind of tried to stay away from it for myself, and so that the club doesn't always get brought in about being a former Celtic captain done this with the club and stuff. So it's more based on the lads now. So for me to take that step away from it is sometimes it's a breath of fresh air as well, to go away and to go into a place that's quite quiet, quite low key, and that you can go under the radar. So for me to have that opportunity to go to Fleetwood, it was a no-brainer. And for us, we've got a fantastic training facility as well. We've got 3 first-team pitches, we've got Astros, we've got an indoor dome getting built. So it was the perfect club at the perfect time.
And if you can try and pinpoint it down, is there one thing that stands out to you miss most about the SPFL?
Winning, just playing football and winning games. And for me, it's a great league. I enjoyed every single moment of being in it, whether I was at either or the 3 clubs. But it was just having that drive, and it did help me being close to home. I got to see my kids grow up, which was a bonus, and now I'm a little bit further away from them. But no, it's a fantastic league, as well as what League One is as well. But for us in Scotland, when I was here, I enjoyed every single moment of playing in these games because it meant so much to me.
Well, legend Scott, thank you so much.
You take care, top man.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. See you all later on. Thank you.